this great building here on the right-hand side? Merchandise Mart, when built in 1930, it was the largest building in the world by square feet and held that title until the Pentagon was constructed. It sits on most of a city block. The building, the Merchandise Mart, used to have its own zip code, used to have its own fire station, still has its own train station, the Merchandise Mart stop on the Brown Line. The building is a great example of a style of architecture popular in the late 1920s called Art Deco. The building has three elements of Art Deco we're going to see over and over again today: soaring vertical lines, deep inside windows, and see how the building recedes level by level at the top? Those are called setbacks. Those soaring lines dry your eye up and make you believe the building is taller and grander than it actually is. We'll see a lot of Art Deco, and we'll see that building later on our tour.
Street.
We'll now come into Wolf Point. This is where the main branch of the Chicago REAP meets the north and south branches. This is the trophy case of Chicago architecture. We're surrounded by new buildings and a couple of old buildings right here. New building, new building, new building, new building, new building. The newest building in Chicago, right here to our front right. Salesforce Tower opened up 8 weeks ago to let its first office workers in, the freshest skyscraper here in Chicago. It houses employees of the Salesforce Software Corporation. You actually can hang out here on the right-hand side after, was it closed off right there? No, it looks like it's open. I think it's open. You can normally hang out here on the right-hand side after our tour. I assume it's open. Yeah, it looks like that's closing off the stairs. So feel free to hang out in these white chairs after our tour and watch the boats come and go. You can hang out in these Adirondack chairs across the river too, but these are kind of special. No one seems to know that you can get there. So you watch the boats come and go, and we'll have a great view of the runners. South branch to our left, north branch to our right. We'll go up the north branch first, south branch later. See this pink building to our front right? I'm pointing at it right now. Fulton House, 1898. Oldest building we'll talk about on our tour today. When built in 1898, it was built to be a cold storage facility, big meat freezer. Chicago was the hog orchard to the world for over 100 years. So a lot of meat would get frozen at this big refrigerator and packed onto refrigerated trains that ran behind the structure. That's how much of America got its meat for a very long time. Chicago was the meat capital of the world. In the 1980s, a civic-minded architect named Harry Weiss bought the building for not much money at all, and he converted it into the residential condominiums it is today in the 1980s. Because the building was a big meat freezer when Harry Weiss bought it, the building was frozen solid. Harry Weiss had to defrost that building for 6 whole months before he started construction on his residential condominiums. You have to do that to every cold storage facility here in Chicago, by the way. Defrost it. The Google building was defrosted only about 7 years ago to make it the Google building in the West Loop. Because it was a cold storage facility, the building also had no windows or patios. The outside was flat. You can't have windows on a freezer. The cold would escape. So Harry Weiss had to cut through a full foot of that red brick to create each and every one of these windows and patios you see there. See this triangular structure here on the left-hand side? Same architect as that Triangle Hotel, Swiss Hotel, Harry Weiss. Harry Weiss was an avid sailor, and this building has triangles that look like sailing rigging, and circles that look like portholes. Harry Weiss wanted to retire here. He wanted to be able to walk out his front door, get out onto his boat, and get out onto the lake. Only problem was his wife never let him move in. His wife forced him to retire in Old Town, different neighborhood, where they also had a home. So Harry Weiss never retired here. He instead converted it into 4 vertical condominiums, which is what it is today. The 3 of the 4 original buyers from the 1980s still reside in their units. The 3rd unit from the left sold for $2.2 billion 8 years ago. When we come out from one of this bridge, we'll turn around and we'll next go down the south branch, which we passed to our left. There's a lot of great buildings down that south branch. Sears Tower, the tallest building in Chicago, is down the south branch. As we turn, me, Super Dan, will come around to see if anyone has any questions. Flag me down if you do, and I'll be back in the mic in a few to restart our tour and talk about that bridge standing up right behind us. If you need a drink, now's a great time to do so. Bars back there at the back of the boat. The restrooms are on the back left and back right. I'll be back in the mic in a few minutes. Woo!